Dennis Farina returns to Miami Vice one final time, and it's nice to see him. World of Trouble was directed by Alan Meyerson and was written by Raymond Hartung. It's the first of 4 so-called lost episodes in that, due to the series' cancellation, they didn't get a chance to air during the initial network run. World of Trouble sees the return of Dennis Farina as Al Lombard, the notorious crime lord we first met way back in Season 1's One-Eyed Jack. Tubbs and Crockett attend a demonstration of a new weapon that can stop any vehicle with a blast of electricity. The creator of this weapon, which is nicknamed Havoc for High Voltage Vehicle Override Capacitor, is a man named Lawrence Fowler. Fowler is played by noted character actor Vincent Schiavelli of Ghost and Batman Returns and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and much, much more. Armed robbers disguised as caterers sneak past security and shoot up the place before taking off with Havoc. One of the gunmen, who is played by Mark McCauley, who we saw earlier this season in Bad Timing, is killed during the raid. On his corpse is a note with a mooring number on it, which leads Crockett and Tubbs to a yacht owned by an arms dealer named Hans Weissler, played by Luca Bercovici. Crockett and Tubbs stake out the yacht and happen to spot Sal Lombard, Al Lombard's son. He was played by Michael DiLorenzo back in the Season 1 episode Lombard, and he's now played by Timothy Patrick Quill. Sal stole Havoc to sell to Weissler, but because of the death of one of his gunmen, he's now demanding a higher price, which Weissler is reluctant to pay. Sal Lombard heads to his office and is greeted by his father Al, who has been presumed dead since the events of the episode Lombard. Lombard faked his death and has been in hiding for the past 4 years because his arch-nemesis Librizzi has had an open contract on his head. Sal tells his father about his wife and young son, but he fails to tell him he's followed his father's example by embarking upon a life of crime. When we met Sal in Season 1, he was a straight arrow who feuded with his father over Lombard's criminal ways, so it's a little bit of a shock to see that Sal has fallen into corruption. Crockett and Tubbs have been trailing Sal, so they nab Lombard when they spot him leaving his son's place. They're more than a little surprised to find him alive. Remember when Lombard used to be a scary villain back in One-Eyed Jack when he had Crockett's ex-girlfriend Barbara Caro murdered over her gambling debts? These days, Lombard is an avuncular teddy bear, and his reunion with Crockett and Tubbs is very warm and friendly. The police have no reason to hold Lombard, so Lombard meets with Sal again. Sal's visit with his father is interrupted by an emergency message from Lawrence Fowler, who is in on the theft of Havoc and is now panicking because the FBI is on his trail. Lombard overhears Sal's conversation with Fowler and is crushed to realize his once virtuous son is now a crook. As Sal and Lombard argue, an assassin sent by Lombard's arch-nemesis Librizzi opens fire on them. Sal leaps in front of his father to protect him and is riddled with bullets. Meanwhile, we check in with Librizzi, who is irate that his assassin failed to kill Lombard. As in the episode Lombard, Librizzi is played by Ned Eisenberg. We just saw Eisenberg 3 episodes back in the episode The Lost Madonna. 100 or so episodes in, Miami Vice's habit of reusing the same actors in multiple roles is starting to create a few tangles. Crockett and Tubbs ambush Fowler, whereupon he goes to pieces and confesses that he helped Sal steal Havoc. Lombard visits Sal's widow Rita, who is played by Julie Brahms, who we saw this season in Asian Cut and last season in Deliver Us from Evil. Concerned about Lombard's violent lifestyle, Rita refuses to let him meet his grandson. A hitman for Librizzi breaks into Lombard's home at night and tries to kill him. Lombard takes him out while dressed in a bathrobe, which is pretty slick. The next day, he uses a helicopter to drop the body in Librizzi's swimming pool while Librizzi is taking a dip. This is a definite escalation of hostilities. Lombard defies Rita's wishes and secretly visits his grandson to shower him with gifts until Rita shoos him away. Crockett talks with Lombard and asks him to work with Vice to help them arrest Librizzi. Lombard wants Librizzi dead to ensure the safety of Rita and his grandson, but he promises Crockett he won't kill Librizzi himself. Lombard then visits his corrupt lawyer, who had given his home address to Librizzi, and confronts him at gunpoint. A security guard bursts in and shoots Lombard several times to protect the lawyer. Only it turns out Lombard is fine. Vice helped him fake his death a second time, so Librizzi will leave Rita and his grandson alone. Crockett calls Librizzi. Posing as Burnett, he tells him he's in possession of Havoc and is willing to sell it to him. Eager to get his hands on Havoc, Librizzi agrees to meet with him. At the meeting, Crockett demonstrates Havoc by blowing up Librizzi's boat, and then the exchange is made. The cops move in to make the arrest, but Lombard appears out of nowhere and confronts Librizzi. Librizzi riddles Lombard with bullets, and Crockett and Tubbs kill Librizzi. A dying Lombard turns out to be unarmed. He'd kept his promise to Crockett by not killing Librizzi himself, though he maneuvered Crockett and Tubbs into doing it for him. He asks Crockett to tell Rita to tell his grandson about him and then dies. I'd categorize this episode as unnecessary, but nice. Lombard's story ended, and ended well, at the end of the first season with his presumed death. And bringing him back and reigniting his feud with Librizzi and bringing back Sal, only making Sal corrupt now instead of noble, None of that needed to be done, and you could argue that it weakens Lombard's story arc overall. However, more Dennis Farina is always a good thing, and there's a certain kind of grace and logic in bringing back one of Miami Vice's earliest villains for its final stretch of episodes, much in the same way that they brought John Leguizamo back last episode. These are actors who are important to Miami Vice, and it's good to see them one final time. The story starts out a bit silly with the theft of this amazing ray gun that can stop any vehicle, but there's something poignant about Lombard's attempt to connect with his lost family. It's fun seeing Vincent Schiavelli as well, and overall I think this is worth 3 flamingos. Next time, Vice deals with a costume vigilante patrolling the streets of Miami in the second Lost episode. We're so close to the end, folks. I hope you'll hang in there with me for just a few more episodes, and in the meantime, enjoy your week.